Hello, Hub City Geeks, and here is the SpartanNerd again with a Final Fantasy Commander review, Magic the Gathering cards. Last time I talked about Final Fantasy VII's deck, and I was surprised to find some things about it. I think it's a terrific product, different deck. I'm not going to talk about the mechanics that much, but about what the cards represent, the flavor. Today I would like to talk about Final Fantasy X in the early 2000s. Sometimes we called it 2000. We called it Final Fantasy X because of the X, Roman numeral 10. Also, there's a sequel game, 10-2. I've never finished this game. I've probably beaten this game 5 times. I've beaten it on the Switch once. The other times I beat it was on the PlayStation 2. This exact same DVD. Well, you should probably get some story points. Final Fantasy VII is a story about sacrifices, and a really pessimistic story actually, where a meteor is going to wipe out the planet and everything like that. Final Fantasy X has a hopeful tone. There's still the theme of sacrifice, but the idea of getting past a sacrifice. And this character is Tidus. And what's different is in Final Fantasy VII, you are third-person point of view, I guess, narrator. But you have to go through the motion set before you. It's kind of like you're seeing the world through this character's eyes in this game, because he comes from a different world and suddenly has to experience the world the game takes place in. That world is got, and some people say it's the same world as Final Fantasy VII. They do have different names, but there are similarities. For instance, in 7 you have materia, which are basically little crystal balls of magic. They call it Mako. In this game, there's spheres everywhere that people are getting and collecting and hunting, and so that's a thing. Let's see. We can't just talk about Tidus. Some people say Titus. I'm a Baptist. I say Titus. This character right here, we have to talk about her. She's the sacrificial character. Yuna. Now, I never even noticed she has 2 different eye colors. My wife pointed it out one day when I was playing the game. And you can see if you look close, you really pull for Yuna. She's on this suicide mission. It makes you, it hits close to home. I mean, how many people are struggling with terminal illness and stuff? And it's kind of like she has a similar thing. And old Tidus here, the bonehead, doesn't realize it. When he finds out, he loses it. That she's has to be sacrificed to defeat the crisis. This character, Riku, she gets on my nerves. Other characters in the game, Waka. Waka is, so the sport in this game is blitzball. It's kind of like volleyball crossed with soccer, crossed with water polo, crossed with, I don't know, and they swim around and score points with the ball. And it's a big part of the game. You have to play this sports game in the middle of Final Fantasy X to level up your characters and get everything. And, it's not like playing a real sports game. And you can let it auto run too. And that's for the people who are allergic to sports games being in their fantasy game, right? But, so you got Waka. He's a team owner and player. His love interest is Lulu. She's a black mage. There is Auron. Auron can go between Tidus's world and the world the game takes place in. And that's explained later on in the game. You have Kamari Ronso. He's a big dog man with a horn that's been chopped off. So you can just see like the stump of a horn. And that's the whole story point. Let's see. And who else is in this game? we have, of course, Riku. So, well, anyways, the main villain of this game is different. Yet there is someone similar to Sephiroth, but it is not as powerful as actually like a second place bad guy. You know, it's like what's that guy? Kylo Ren is the Darth Vader. You know, the enemy in this game is actually a natural disaster called Sin, and I have the card for that, but that won't be in this deck because this is a black card. It's this one's black, green, and blue, and this deck is white, green, and blue. So there's no black. In Commander and Magic, you can't mix colors. Like all your cards have to be the color of your commander. And in this deck, the colors green, white, blue. That means you can't have any black cards in there. So anyway, my point is I have this card from, I actually purchased this as a single. But Sin is like a monster that comes and attacks the planet. It destroys everything. Between like 7 to 20 years, every 7 to 20 years or something, it shows up, destroys everything. It can be stopped by a summoner. That brings Yuna in. They have to go summon the final Aeon to defeat Sin. So that brings a point. Aeons are the summons in this game. In Final Fantasy in general, you're summoning big monsters to help you on your quest. In this game, she's got, I think there's 8 or 10 summons. And as you go through the game, you go through the dungeons, you collect the summons. And then the idea is you'll get the final Aeon that can defeat Sin. Turns out, though, that summoning the final Aeon causes you to be killed. So that's all the thing, right? Just a couple of other things. This is my Father's Day present. Unfortunately, this is not a good game about fatherhood. Yeah, Titus hates his dad, and his dad is the core of Sin. He was the lead guardian for the summoner that defeated Sin before, and apparently the lead guardian is possessed by Sin and takes over Yevon. That brings up another name, Yevon. There's like a religion around this. So the sin that is being punished is using machines, machina. So there are different factions around the world that are pro-machina or against machina. And the idea is that there was a war that caused 2 major cities to attack each other with increasing technology until finally this mage came up with Sin to destroy them all and put an end to it, and then to continue to punish society for using machina. The only machina allowed to use is used by the Church of Yevon, and also by the people playing Blitzball, which is a holy game. So I think gave you a whole bunch of points about this game. Let's get these cards open, see what this is about. So our opening commander, and this is a fake card on the front, which I will take my wife's rotary cutter and cut that thing out to use somewhere like I did Final Fantasy VII's. The name of this deck is Counter Blitz. Yep. And it is what we call Bant colors in Magic the Gathering. So this is green, white, and blue. And the commander here, Titus, Yuna's Guardian. Or Titus for you Japanese speakers. Anyway, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may move a counter from target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. Now, just before I read any more, counters in Magic the Gathering has become a... counters is more than just 1/1 counters that makes your creature stronger. Counters can be flight counters, trample counters. And this way you can add a quality to a card that wasn't there. So that's been a recent development in the game, and I wonder how Titus will take advantage of that. Here's a second ability, Cheer. Whenever one or more of your creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. One or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player. You may draw a card and proliferate. Do this only once each turn. Proliferate means put another counter of the type on any other creature or permanent. I think permanent. Permanents being lands, artifacts, planeswalkers. All right, so let's look at the back. Titus, Unis, Guardian. Embark on a journey to Xanarkin alongside Titus. Xanarkin is the name of the world he came from. And it's analogous to the Promised Land in Final Fantasy VII. I said analogous, so Hub City Geeks, you get to congratulate me on that big word, right? Analogous. Using the pocket dot my dad gave me. And this playmat, once again, this was my first Magic the Gathering related present for Father's Day, 2013. I didn't have a playmat. I was allowed to go pick this one out. Why would you pick out an angel like that? Well, I can think of a couple of reasons. Maybe you can see those. All right, let's move on. What else we got here? This is a security thing. I didn't have one of these in the other one. Let's see. We have a box. And just so you can see the Final Fantasy VII one, the box works with the tokens in there, but it's really crammed in there. You can see that it's bulging a little bit. I expect the same thing here. I mean, it's not like the Wizards. They used to make better boxes and stuff. I don't know. They've had times when they made worse ones. On the back, we have a picture of Yuna doing her summoning dance. I think that's the same art from the front with Titus. And there's that crystal with the Magic the Gathering. That doesn't mean anything. You can use those things. I mean, you can just collect them. You can use them as counters and stuff like that. It's surprisingly useful. Magic the Gathering is intended to be a game you can take anywhere. You don't have to have all this fancy stuff. Got a good picture of Titus with his iconic giant sword. That is a cue taken from Final Fantasy VII, of course. This game broke some new ground because it had voice acting. Also, you put your name in and it's Titus's name. Nobody ever says his name. Nobody ever says it. So they say everybody else's name, but not Titus's. Let's see. There's another picture of Yuna, the Grand Summoner. I'll set that over here. Oh yeah, I did find something in the other that I didn't read, but I'm going to this time. The magic colors. White is order, cooperation, protection. Those are the qualities of white. See, some people can follow a mistake and say that white is good. No. Order, cooperation, and protection. Blue is knowledge, control, and perfection. Black, power, death, ambition. Once again, people associate black with evil. And to be fair, it doesn't help they have the demons and stuff, right? But essentially, black magic here, and in Final Fantasy X, isn't necessarily considered evil. So power, death, ambition. Red is emotion, chaos, rebellion. Green is nature, instinct, community. Why is this deck associated with green, white, blue mana? Colors of green and blue intertwine, representing nature, life, and aquatic embrace in Spira. Myriad life forms thrive in the lush, watery landscapes. And in white mana, Summoners and their steadfast companions symbolize the unwavering desire for moments of peace in a troubled world. Beautifully put, right? But it's a nice picture, but it's just going to go into my file 13. All right, so let's open up this cigarette package. Has the cards in there. Yep, I don't care. I know everybody that does nicotine vapes, but this is cardboard crack, so we use cigarette wrappers. Like I said, I'm mostly interested in sharing the cards, the art, the flavor, the story. But the mechanics, if it jumps out at me, I'll be sure to point that out. Already talked about Titus. Here's Una. Una's the character that everyone pulls for. It's kind of like you expect her to be sacrificed, the same way Eris was sacrificed in Final Fantasy VII. And it's hopeless. You can never get her back. Grand Summon. You tap her, add 1 mana of any color. When you next cast a creature spell this turn, that creature enters with 2 additional 1/1 counters on it. Alright, whenever another permanent you control is put in a graveyard from the battlefield, if it had 1 or more counters on it, you may put that number of 1/1 counters on target creature. So this is like what we call persist. It is a counter persist. Aron, the venerated guardian, is white with vigilance. He's the most seasoned of the guardians, of Una's guardians, of course, and he was with her father, Lord Braska, and he was also with Titus's father. So there we go. And why can he travel between the 2 worlds? I don't know. We'll see if an occasion comes up later in the deck for me to bring it up. Chocobo Knights. Human Knights. Let's see. Gata and Luzu. Who are these 2 people? I don't know if I remember these 2 guys. And also, let's remember, Final Fantasy X-2. I haven't made it through the game. I haven't made it a quarter of the way through the game. Lord Jiskel Guado. No. This is Seymour's father. And the Guado are a race of plant humans. And basically, the Sephiroth copy in this game is Seymour. He's the Maester of the Guados, Maester being like the Pope, I guess, and anyway, and he wants to marry Una, but that is not allowed, so he goes crazy. He has a famous line, "Death awaits." He's very nihilistic, actually. Protection magic. Put a shield counter on each of up to 3 target creatures. So there you go. There's a shield counter. Titus could cause that shield counter to be multiplied. And then it takes two deaths to kill a creature. Summon Ixion. Now I have that right here in foil from my collector's booster. Wait a minute. Did this come with one? Good thing I didn't just throw that away. It did. What? Should I go ahead and open this? Interrupt this broadcast? Well, let's go ahead and swap out Ixion with the foil Ixion. All right. And wait, this in this Final Fantasy set, the summons that you have, they are in Magic we call them sagas. It's kind of like an enchantment that sits there and it has counters that tick down over turns. But these are saga creatures, which is a good time to use such a thing. Summons in Final Fantasy. You can already see there's some of Yojimbo sitting there, but let's see what's in my collector booster. Because it could be something awesome. It could be total garbage. But it's free. So I got Sin the same day I bought the $50 collector booster, and I pulled Tifa's 7th Heaven out of that. All right, let's see what I got. Got my upside down cards. Oh, that one's promo. We have Life Stream's Blessing. This is a full art card. So if this comes up again in this deck, I'll swap it out. And Umaro the Raging Yeti. I don't know who that is. It is from Final Fantasy VI, I believe. Life Stream's Blessing is from Final Fantasy VII. All right, so there we go. I'll just set those back there in case it comes back up. I'll set Ixion back there too. Yeah, you can compare the two printings. This is full art foil. And this is the vanilla regular printing. You can see why you'd want the foil one better. It has just all around better art. Yojimbo is the secret summon in Final Fantasy X. Some people don't even know it exists. He's super powerful. He has a move that kills any enemy if you get him to do it. It doesn't matter. It could be a boss. He can do it. He'll do it. Summoner Sending. This is Yuna doing the sending dance. So she takes her magic wand. She goes out over water usually. Sometimes it's not, and she waves it around and does a dance, and you see the pyre flies. One of the things that seem to connect the two worlds, when you kill enemies, they vaporize into these little spirits called pyre flies, and she is sending them to the far plane, and the far plane is, you can go to where Seymour lives and see people that have passed on in the far plane and talk to them. So that's a whole point in that game. Blitzball Stadium. I mentioned Blitzball. You start the game in this place playing Blitzball when Sin attacks. That big globe is water. And this is all obviously machine driven. Do we see anything else interesting? Yeah, not really. Here's Lulu. Now, they made Lulu a blue card. She's a black mage. It is said, there's our black mage, Lulu. But as a character, was she black? She's not Liliana. I always would figure she would have been a black card, though. Whenever an opponent attacks you, choose a target creature attacking you, put a stun counter on that creature. Yep. Really, I favor Lulu, but I like playing Liliana. It's like, you know, zombies, demons, stuff like that. Stuff the Reverend SpartanNerd is not about. Why do I like Conan the Barbarian? Because he does exactly the opposite of what I would do. Owaka, the traveling merchant. You get this guy in every city, and he gives you deals. Here's Riku, who gets on my nerves. Resourceful guardian. She's of Albed. They are like, it's just kind of like people that are kind of, I want to say outcast a little bit. They use the Machina and they defy the religion of Yevon, so. But they don't really. That's the thing. I mean, summon Valefor. Valefor is the first summon you see in the game. You see Yuna call it down. Titus is totally impressed. Well, you should be. But you know, not only with Valefor, he's impressed with Yuna, of course. Here's Maester Seymour, the Sephiroth of this game. You can see why we would call him that. I mean, he's got similar hair. Look at this. I'm getting off camera. Got similar hair, I guess. He says things like, death awaits. Every time you fight him, he's a different like mutation of himself too. The sphere grid. So like I said, in this game, they're hunting spheres. And the sphere grid is how you level up in this game. And they brought this back on the recent versions of Final Fantasy VII, kind of. It's not called the sphere grid, but you still level up using a similar mechanic. Mega Sisters, one of the secret summons. I didn't even know that these were in the game until I'd beaten the game twice. I don't know how I picked up on that, but at that point, the internet was raging and strong, and I probably looked it up on the internet. Trommel, Seymour's butler. You meet this guy when you first go to the place where the Guado live. Guado Salam. See, you can see Yevon. Do you see, like, I don't know, Heaven or Jehovah there? I mean, you see they're kind of riffing on stuff like that. Guado Salam is kind of like the Guados are there, but you got Salam. That's kind of like Jerusalem or Shalom, peace. All right. Yuna's decision. This is showing Tidus and Yuna having their moment together of romance. Shortly after this is when Tidus learns that she's on a sacrificial mission, and he loses his cool in the game, and he's sitting there crying, feeling bad because he's helping her get there. He doesn't understand why all the people in the pilgrimage are sad. Yuna's whistle. It's like a cute thing she does. It's recognizable when Yuna does it. Kamari, Valiant Guardian. Now, here we go. This is where, and he's a green and blue card. I don't really look a whole lot like him. What do you think, Hub City Geeks? Let me find my camera lens. I guess he is gray. Like, I always think of him as being blue, but I'm not so good with colors. He's called a blue mage because in Magic, blue magic copies what the enemies do, and he can do that, and that's an important thing. The different monsters you meet with different abilities, he can learn how to do them. Shalinda, Yevon, Acolyte. This is one I don't know. I don't recognize this character. And she could be from 10-2, for all I know. Sin, Unending Cataclysm. So here's a Sin that doesn't have black in it. It's flying and trample. Sin enters, remove all counters for any number of artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. Sin enters with 10, with X, 1/1 counters on it, where X is twice the number of counters removed this way. Twice the number. When Sin dies, put his counters on target creature you control, then shuffle this card into its owner's library. So you build up all these counters with Tidus, and then you sacrifice all those to make this enter the battlefield. It's a 7-drop. I'm not sure this is a good idea in Commander. It'd be like if you could flash this in or something, it'd be better. Waka, the Devoted Guardian. Here he is, looking like a goofball. Reach and trample, that's perfect for him. You see he's holding a blitz ball. He looks all American there in that picture, don't he? Collective Effort. This has Escalate, so if you tap a creature, that's what it says, then you get to choose one or more for each time you escalated. Up. SpartanNerd's going to say a cuss word. Damning Verdict. Destroy all creatures with no counters on it. So this is a Wrath effect, a sweeper effect, Wrath of God. Let's get that off my screen, right? Farewell. This is also a sweeper. And this is a card that's in demand. Just the card. Where are they saying farewell? Is Titus hugging Una? Stay with me till the end, please. Luminous Broodmoth. This is an enemy. I don't remember it. Don't bother going after all of them. Cut the ones that matter and run. Promise of loyalty. Listen to my story. This may be our last chance. The game starts with this image. Titus is telling the story. They are at Xanarkand. And their weapons are in the sand. The fireflies are flying around. They are at Xanarkand. So you really begin the game at the location you're going to end the game in. And then he's telling the story the whole time. Resourceful defense. You can see right there. Doesn't Kamari look blue? Scholar of the New Horizon, Human Scout. I don't recognize him. Sunscorched Regent, Creature Dragon. Together Forever, 2 whites enchantment. Showing them having a good kiss. With enchantment enter support 2. Put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Pay 1, choose target creature with a counter on it. When that creature dies this turn, return that card to its owner's hand. So there's a couple of cards. Run Away Together is one. This is Together Forever. Run Away Together is a black card that does something like bring them back from the graveyard. Chasm Skulker. This is a reprint of a card with new Final Fantasy art. Squid Horror. Inexorable Tide, another reprint. Whenever you cast a spell, proliferate. Pull from Tomorrow. Okay, so this is the first time we've seen him. Jekt. So this is Titus and Jekt. Jekt is Titus's father. Jekt was somehow like off practicing his blitzball skills or something, and he wound up getting pulled into Una's world when she was a child and became Lord Braska's lead party member, so he could complete his pilgrimage, which he did. But that meant that Jekt became the new Sin. Pull from Tomorrow, good flavor, because now Titus has been pulled from the future and has to fight his dad. And they have a moment, I mean, where you think, it's where in a story normally you would say you love the person, but he says he hates him. Titus says he hates him. And he says, I know. But you know what? Even in those words, the hate is not really there. Those were the words he said, but the words he meant was really he loved his dad. And he pitied him because he'd become this sin monster. And so. Bane of Progress. Cool. Fight Rigging. This is depicting appears to be depicting a blitzball game being thrown. I don't remember that in the story, but it could have been in there. Forgotten Ancient Elemental. Generous Patron, Elf Advisor. When its creatures enter, support 2. Gyre Sage. This is a reprint. Hardened Scales. This is worth money. People want this card. Basically, you get, if one or more counters upon a creature, you put that many +1, you get an extra counter. And it just costs 1 green. Way back when this card was first printed, this was the bomb. This card was so powerful that they banned cards in Modern because of this card. Incubation Druid. Path of Discovery. Rampant Rejuvenator. Plant Hydra. Tireless Tracker. Those are all reprints with new art. Altered Ego. A Shapeshifter. So he can be, when you cast this in Magic the Gathering, he's every creature type. He can't be countered. So this is going to be in demand for people that play shapeshifters. Endless Detour. It's showing the lightning. So in Zelda Breath of the Wild, the first time you get the thunderstorm and you're wearing the weapon that's metal and the lightning just comes for you. The lightning in Final Fantasy X is probably even more annoying and terrifying because there's no recourse. I mean, you get like a barely little flash on the screen before you're hit and it knocks you down. And it's frustrating to just cross this area. Fathom Mage is another reprint. If I'm not mistaken, the Fathom Mage looks like this, but this is Final Fantasy X art. Walking Ballista. Now, I looked this up last night. Not this specific printing because I didn't know I was getting it. I was looking through other cards that I unsleeved to put the Final Fantasy VII sleeves on, and I had one. It's worth about $12. 10 to 12 bucks. Walking Ballista. So here we go with the lands, and I expect there to be some non Final Fantasy X lands here. This one is Final Fantasy X, and I recognize this now. When you first walk out, you see this world. I recognize it. Canopy Vista. This one is from Final Fantasy VII. And here's the exotic orchard in the deck it belongs in, showing Guado Salam. We have been expecting you, Lady Yuna. Welcome to Guado Salam, says Trommel, Seymour's butler. Flooded Grove. I think this is showing the far plane, and you can see in that little bubble at the top, and the fireflies are going around, and this is where they talk to someone who's passed on, or their essence of what remains haunting that place. So if a soul is unsent, then they can become a monster. That's part of the story of Final Fantasy X. So that's one of the jobs of the summoner, is to send the fireflies to the far plane. Fortified Village. Also, this one's showing Fort Condor from Final Fantasy VII. Glacial Fortress. Final Fantasy XIV. I have never played it. That's an online game, I think. Maybe I should look into it. Hinterland Harbor. This one's showing the Shoe Puff. Rise as Shoe Puff. The Shoe Puff is this large, elephant thing that you ride on across there, sort of like a ferry boat. And some of the description is that it eats the microorganisms in there. The entire river glows like a sea of stars, says Lulu. Overflowing Basin from Final Fantasy X. I think this is also showing us the far plane. Port Town. The Blitzball announcer says the excitement here has reached fever pitch as the opening ceremony gets underway. Another Final Fantasy 14 one. This one looks like Zendikar, like a little bit, in regular Magic. Do they even remember there was a regular Magic story? All this universe is beyond. Sky Cloud Expanse from Final Fantasy 14 also. And Sungrass Prairie, showing the Chocobo Ranch from Final Fantasy 7. Sun Petal Grove. And this is from Final Fantasy X. I think this is an area. It seems like I remember just running back and forth and finding the same enemy in this area over and over. Temple of Enlightenment. This one is showing us... Let me read it. First down the Moonflow to Guado City of Guado Salam. Then we cross the Thunder Plains to the Temple of Macalania. And that's what this is, the Temple of Macalania. That it's like ice everywhere. And Lulu said that. Ramiam Temple, once a great religious center in the Calm Lands, lost after the battle with sin. The Temple of Mystery. Temple of Plenty. These are temples. When they enter the battlefield, you get to scry one, you look at the top card, and you put it on the bottom of the top. People collect these. I mean, they're not worth that much anymore, but they're useful. This is showing Kilika Temple. So we got Kilika, Macalania, Ramiam. These are all the cities and towns in Spira. Vine Glimmer Snarl. Come, Summoner, I will bestow you with my power. The Dark Aeon Anima. Seymour's mother said this. Now, you can get Anima, and it's creepy stuff. 3 secret summons in this game. Anima, Mega Sisters, and Yojimbo. Destroy Evil. Destroy target creature with toughness 4 or greater, or destroy target enchantment. So it is you, after all, who will send me, but even after I am gone, Spira's sorrow will prevail. Seymour says this to Yuna, knowing that she didn't marry him, but Sin's just going to kill her, so. Grateful Apparition. You see this little character at the beginning of the game, and it's never really explained who it is. But it's Bahamut. It is the summon of Bahamut. It is the spirit that comes to talk to Titus and help lead him along with Aaron, so they can escape Sin's attack and go and fight in the real world. So the world that Titus is from is a dream world. And there we go. I'm giving you the plot points, right? It's a dream world. And so Titus is a figment, if you will, of the faith. He's a summon himself. Path to Exile, a reprint of Final Fantasy Path to Exile. Wow. This is your story. It all begins here, says Aaron at the beginning of the game. That is so good. You remember what I said at the beginning of this video? That Titus, you see the world, you learn the world through Titus's eyes. An offer you can't refuse, showing Riku before she takes off that Albed clothing. Put it that way. Dust Shell Crawler, an insect. He's cool. Farseek. I just like that. Farplane, Farseek. Farseek was one of the first big cards in Magic when I started playing the game. Inspiring Call. Draw a card for each creature card with a 1/1 counter on it. These creatures get indestructible to the end of turn. What? 3 visits. 3 visits. Search the library for a forest card, put on the battlefield, then shuffle. This has like a Japanese story behind it, and it like shows 3 guys visiting someone. It's sort of like 3 wise men or something. It bothers me that you only get one land out of it. And it's called 3 visits. I don't know. Bred for the hunt. All right, Arcane Signet. Once again, everyone's going to want this. And it's got his Blitzball team's symbol on it. Ever-flowing chalice with multi-kicker. Here's the Final Fantasy X Soul Ring. Memories are nice, but that's all they are, says Riku. And that is showing us. This is something from 10-2, I think. Yes. Yes. Yuna has this, and she's remembering Titus, because the plot is, here we go, Yuna doesn't get sacrificed. Nobody gets sacrificed. But Titus was a dream. The dream stops and he disappears. And she has this this sphere that helps her remember him. And part of the game of 10-2 is finding him and bringing him back. But he's a dream, right? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't been able to make it very far into the game. I just somehow can't bear the game. Dress spheres and pain and I don't know. You got the airship at the beginning of the game. So Ash Barons, Final Fantasy VI art. This one is Final Fantasy X Evolving Wilds. Similar, I was telling you, you go to a place and you have to keep fighting the same enemies. That's the same place, different angle. Forge of Heroes. It's showing you the save point. That is so funny. The save point. The Forge of Heroes. Because if you play the game, you get stuck. You can just level up your guy, defeat some people in the area, save your game again. That is funny, and they knew it when they printed that. Idyllic Beachfront. This is where I was born. I started Blitz when I was 5. I joined the RX at 13, 10 years ago. 10 years, and we never won a game, says Waka. Not till Titus came along. Nesting Grounds. A butterfly will lead the way to secret things. Path of Ancestry showing us Red 13 and his father Sito from Final Fantasy VII. Radiant Grove. You're not really going to see the dead, more like the memories of them. They take on the form of the dead person. An illusion, nothing else. She's referring to the far plane. I lived in the city of Bavel until 10 years ago. It's the biggest city in Spira. The main temple of Yevon is there. That was Seaside Citadel. It's a tri-land. Tangled Islet. A forest island. You can fetch this. Are you heading for Kilika Temple? Then just follow this trail. There are poisonous fiends in the forest. Be on your guard. Temple of the False God. I'm glad they printed this card in Final Fantasy X where it belongs. You can tap, add 2 colorless, activate only if you control 5 or more lands. I like that they wrote out modern text on it. It's better for you to die in hope than live in despair. Let me be your liberator. This is Lady Unaleska. Part of the original plan to create sin, to punish the world for all that war. And you have to fight her. She's like the 5th to final boss or something. And Unaleska, see a connection there? I mean, Command Tower. The city lights go out one by one. The stars fade. The horizon glows almost like it's on fire. It's really pretty. I know you'd like it. Titus is saying this of his dream Zanakin. Zanarkand where he's from when he explains it to the party. And he's talking about Zanarkand and all this stuff. People aren't supposed to talk about it. It's like a taboo subject. And like, hey, you can't be talking about that. But he's from there. But he's from a imaginary or a dreamed up version. Here we have those basic lands that are off flavor for the deck. So here's a Final Fantasy 12. Here's Tifa's 7th Heaven from Final Fantasy 7. From Final Fantasy 15, a game about riding in cars and being a spoiled brat, rich kid. Here's an island from Final Fantasy 12. That's really, I mean, see, when I see this, it's like, maybe I should play these games. This is from Final Fantasy 10. This one is correctly from it. This was Final Fantasy 8, a game I know nothing about. Final Fantasy 9. Big old tree. Final Fantasy 3. Let's see. Final Fantasy 6. Like in the last one, I pointed, I don't know who these people are, but you can see them sitting in the distance. And here are the tokens. Treasure token, a clue token. And that's showing that thing that Yuna has in 10-2. Once again, token spirit. So this is spirit, yeah. So it's showing a Pyrefly. I like that. We got some counters. Let's flip these over. They'll be double-sided. We got squids. Another treasure token, another clue token. So, just like the last one I did, should I rate this? Surely not. But it gives us what we wanted. What did we sign up for? We signed up for Final Fantasy. I signed up for Magic cards, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 10, and this is that. I could have got the fully foiled out version for like $500. No. All right, I'm perfectly happy having this. And if I want to foil any of these out, I'll get them piecemeal. More likely, I would like the copy that's in here and want to use it in a different deck, and then I would buy the foil version and swap it in. That's more likely to happen. So what do you think, Hub City Geeks? Do you like it? Do you know Final Fantasy X? Do you agree or disagree? 1/1 counters, shield counter. What is that? That's a flying counter. That's a shield counter. I don't know what that I is. See, I play this game all the time, and I don't know this stuff. Modern stuff. Well, I want you to subscribe, like, comment, and go read the SpartanNerd.com blog. All right? I might put something up on there about these cards, but I don't know. I might, but I've recently got an action figure review of Man of War from Mattel. I think maybe this week I might make myself go out to the Toy Federation and pick something up in Greer. Maybe I will. I don't know. But let me know in the comments. What's your thoughts on this game and on these cards? All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.